Yes, we are. This thing gets live like really quickly. Like the speed at which it gets live, like you better be ready by the time this thing cuts on. I appreciate y'all being here. To be honest, you know, every day is a grind, every day is a journey. Um, I haven't been getting the best sleep since doing this. Not since doing this, but last like week or so. Sleep has not been the best, but we're still here and we still got to show up. For those of y'all that's going to be watching this back, don't forget to double tap the screen, like, comment, share, subscribe. Hello. Welcome in, my good friend. I appreciate you being here. Today we're talking about, this one is going to have to be like at least two videos, because I don't believe, yeah, I'm glad to know that's not just me. I'm glad you just told me that. That gives me some reassurance. Um, what you should do, what I've read, just through experience, what you should do when your sleep is, your rhythm is off. You should do something that puts you physically like back in tune with your body. So like, exercise and working out and stuff like that there. And I usually do that in the morning, but if you stay up all morning, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, so I do hope that your sleep schedule is getting back on track too. We in this together. Again, it's good to know, when you got somebody that's kind of going through something similar with you. And for those of y'all that's gonna be watching this back too, if your sleep schedule has been off or if you've been feeling just antsy as of late. I don't think it's just me, but if you've been feeling antsy as of late, I would implore you to try to do everything to get back into your body and into your quiet place. Because in your body and in your quiet place, that's where you're going to have the best result, and that's inevitably what you need to do anyway in order to get some rest. You know, because I'm a physical dude. So it's like, I like being up. I like thinking all day. I like putting plans and stuff together all day. But, you can't build or solve the world's problems in one day, especially if you're not getting enough sleep. So that's that. But I appreciate y'all that's going to be watching this back. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Today, we're talking about something that's important for you and me and everybody else around this world. We're talking about ancient Mu and ancient Tartaria. Ancient Mu and ancient Tartaria. If you've ever heard of ancient Mu or ancient Tartaria, go ahead and comment on this live right now. Ancient Mu and ancient Tartaria. I'm planning on, I just need to get away from my family. Stress is what you're talking about, I believe. Before I get to these topics, stress is what you're talking about, I believe. And yes, stress can lead to all sorts of different things. Stress can lead to malnourishment. Stress can lead to different ailments in the body. Stress can literally kill you. So if you think your family is the cause of that, it's probably like the spirit that lies in your family that's causing you to feel like that. So whatever you're able to do that's within reason and that's healthy to step away from that, I implore you to do, because I have to do the same thing. What do I do for a living? What I do for a living is I try to bring some ease to my people, you being my people as well. I try to bring some ease through these videos and through these conversations because I found that the most impactful way to help people is to relate to people and just have conversation with people. So this is what I do on top of other business ventures that I have outside of this, but primarily this is what I do right here. Yep. And along with what I do is talk about stuff like ancient Tartaria, ancient Mu, and the lost civilizations that are all around us. They're not lost. We just don't talk about them. We don't have the privilege to talk about some of this stuff. You know what I mean? We don't have the privilege to talk about some of this stuff. So this is part one. I already got it in my mind that I'm gonna be doing like at least a 2, 3, 4 part video to this. This is part one though of my Tartarian disclose. So in this part one, I want to just express to you guys what is ancient Tartaria? What is ancient Mu? What is all these ancient things, these giant bones that have been found since the 80s? And why don't we talk about them anymore? What happened to the bones? What happened to the cities that are all around us on every single continent. What happened to these places? What happened to the people? What did the people look like? So we're gonna talk about like that, and I think it's gonna be an interesting conversation. Yeah, for sure. Um, no, I've never heard of that. Bro, what's the meaning of 6'7"? The meaning of 6'7", this has nothing to do with nothing, but I'll go ahead and entertain it because I'm getting back in the rhythm of just getting back in front of this camera because again, this will be the lowest that this will ever be. This will be the smallest that will ever be. But for the purpose of exercising my words, 6'7", as I understand it, relates to the different Vodou and Santeria gods that are worshipped by the particular artist, what's his name, Skrilla. I thought Skrilla, first and foremost, I thought Skrilla was like a DJ. Isn't Skrilla like a DJ? Where does this version of Skrilla come from? Who is this? Who is this? I thought Skrilla was a DJ. So that's neither here nor there, but 6'7" represents the number of gods because I believe that there's 7 gods that they worship in their Vodou religion, and 6 and the 7 being the specific type of gods that are being worshipped from a family called the Odun. The Odun is the overall deity family that they worship. Now, what I personally believe about all that is that there's only one true source of creation. There's only one true God, and the gods that they're worshiping are definitely not the one true God that I'm aware of. So that's what that is. That's what that is. Make sure I get these comments out the way before I get to the topic. Yes, it can kill you, for sure. It can definitely kill you, bro. Stress can definitely kill you, guys. Here's the thing, and this is a good exercise to get to the topic. Not only can stress kill you, but stress, as I understand it, I'm a sociologist as well, guys. That's what y'all don't know about me. That's what I studied in school. I didn't graduate, but I'm a sociologist. Stress not only can kill you, but stress is the main component that leads to diabetes, that leads to Alzheimer's, that leads to high blood pressure, high blood sugar. Stress is the main thing that leads to all these things. Stress is the main thing that leads to aneurysms, that leads to all forms of cancer. Stress can and will literally kill you if left unchecked. Stress can kill you, yes. Sent your pictures in and got myself a custom SOLARMAN fleshlight. Boy, I don't know if I should be flattered or if I should be worried. What the heck is a fleshlight, my boy? What is that? What is that? What is a fleshlight, bro? What is a fleshlight? Let me know. I can't Google right now because I'm on this live. So let me know what a fleshlight is. That sounds kind of concerning. You sent my picture in. What picture did you send? That's kind of cool, but it's kind of creepy too. I don't know. That's pretty cool though. Like, what's a fleshlight though? Let me know. Mark the Spot 919. Is it recommended by AI to use food for sandwiches? All right. Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Everything is a sandwich. Hello. Everything is always between other things. Right on, right on, right on. And then we got a little kid in here typing a bunch of stuff. I'm number 1. Let's go. That's what you did that for? Do you believe the sun is God? Fleshlight, LOL. Yeah, I don't know what he meant by fleshlight. Do you know what he meant by fleshlight? That sounds kind of creepy. It sounds like flesh, like my flesh into a light, I'm protected against all forms of Vodou, magic, black magic. I'm just letting you know. I'm protected, Yeah, I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Do you believe the, let me answer that real quick too. Again, I'm doing this as a lyrical exercise to get me into this topic because again, I haven't been feeling it lately. But, you gotta keep going. Do you believe that the sun is God? So I believe that everything around me is a reflection of God. Every single thing that you see, even myself included, even you included, is a reflection of God. So every single thing that we look at, whether that be man-made, handmade, or literally we have nothing to do with it, is all reflections of God. So yes, the sun is God, the moon is God, the water is God. Every single thing is a reflection of divinity. But to say it like that, the sun is the single source of all creation, nah, it's just a symptom of it. It's just a symptom of it. But y'all know how I do, y'all. And notice I'm slowing down my speech too. you know, because it's important. I want you to come in here feeling ease with what I'm saying. You know, I be understanding what I'm saying, but sometimes I get ahead of myself. So I want y'all to catch everything I'm saying today. Ancient Tartaria. Have you ever heard of it? Right on. Peace, God. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Ancient Tartaria. Have you ever heard of it? Next time you're in your major city, whether that be DC, whether that be Seattle, whether that be downtown Dallas, whether that be anywhere in America, or even if you're in Europe, even if you're in Asia, what I want you to do is I want you to walk around to their ancient, not even ancient, to your old monuments that they said were built during the 1800s. And I want you to follow and see a consistent theme of the architecture, the way that the buildings are built. I want you to notice the consistency of how they look, and I want you to compare them on pictures to how they look in different countries and in different places. What you'll notice is that these buildings are all built the same. The structures are all built the same. And we might be thinking, what am I talking about? Right now, I want you to think about the Supreme Court and what it looks like. Or anything, a monument. I want you to think about a monument and what it looks like. Now that you got it in your head, think about the structure of it. You know how it kind of looks like Roman, like a Romanesque, like it's, you know, like a movie. Think about it like that. Think about ancient Rome and how those buildings are probably in your downtowns, are probably your government buildings. Not even probably, are your government buildings downtown. Think about how they're built. Think about how high the ceilings are of those government buildings. Think about it. You got the image in your head? Okay, cool. Now think about how all of these buildings were built supposedly in the 1800s before we even figured out how to successfully have running water and stuff like that, before something was called the Industrial Revolution. They say that all this stuff was built in the 1800s. You believe that? I'm gonna go ahead and answer that for you. No, I don't believe it at all. I used to believe everything I was told. I used to believe everything I was taught. But as I came to a place of awareness, I'm realizing I'm not a lab rat, but I'm realizing is that it's better for me, it's above my pay grade to know what's really going on. So what do I mean? What's the topic? I know the caption was story time. Yeah. Man, I haven't even gotten to story time. Right now, I'm talking about ancient Tartaria plus story time. And you know what? As I get to this ancient Tartaria topic, I want to go ahead and talk about how things used to be. So again, keep that image of a government building in your mind real quick, because he did just remind me that we're talking about story time today, and this is a lyrical exercise. So let me just go ahead and get the story time out the way. As you keep that government image in your mind of, you didn't have to go to court before, whether that be for a speeding ticket, whether that be for whatever the case may have been, you have had to go to court before. And when you went to court, you noticed how the government building was shaped and built. Very high ceilings, very high steps, very big columns outside. And it's not just in your city, it's in every major city and really every country, every major country on the planet. Keep that in mind. Now, very briefly, let's go ahead and get to this story time real quick because I just got reminded. This story time actually happened yesterday. So, man, oh man. In my life, I got called the N-word. Not the nigga. I got called a nigger. I got called a nigger by a white person. That's never happened to me before. In my life, I've lived all over this country. I've lived all over this world. I've lived in different countries, all over the world. I lived in different countries. I've lived in, I've been in different places where I got called that word. But it was never, so what happened? And this, I'm gonna tie this all in to how things used to be and why everything is like kind of like upside down compared to what it used to be. I'm gonna tie it all in because I think this is a good. I'm gonna do that. I like to do that. So what happened was I was driving yesterday, and I was going in what's called a roundabout. And for those of y'all that don't know what a roundabout is, I don't know why, but they just introduced it to my country. I'm gonna say they just introduced it at least probably like 15 years ago, 18 years ago, maybe longer, maybe shorter. But I don't think it's been around that long. I could be wrong. I'm not the oldest and I'm not the youngest, but I could be wrong. But to my understanding, these roundabouts have not been a thing for that long. So I was in a roundabout, and at the roundabout, because it's a round, you have oncoming traffic, and you're supposed to yield every time you get to that stopping point at a roundabout. And as I was getting to that stopping point in the roundabout, I saw a car coming, but it's been snowing in my neck of the woods too. So that means that the roads are pretty icy and slippery and cold, and you can slip and slide if you try to move too fast. So what I did was I yielded. I yielded a little early, but it was a car coming, and the car could either keep going straight out of the exit, or it could continue in the roundabout to go to another side of the exit. That's what happened. So what I did was I yielded a little early, and I let that car come, and then the car ended up going straight. But you just had to make sure. So I did that, and when I did that, I had this I had this person behind me honking the horn. As they pulled up, they just beep, 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 beep. And I'm usually pretty like level-headed sometimes, when it comes to like traffic and stuff, because you just never know what's going on in the other car. You never know what's going on in somebody's day. You don't want no problems. And outside of that, it just don't be that big of a deal to me, but this particular day, I wasn't having a bad day, but I was just like kind of like, I was just kind of like trying to get to where I was going, and I wasn't trying to deal with no foolishness, nobody's mess. And as I heard that horn coming up behind me, beep, 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 I'm like, yo, this ain't even the neighborhood for all this. Like, this is a nice neighborhood. What is your problem? Like, what's your problem? So, yeah, bro, I stuck my hand out the window. I did not do this. I just stuck my hand out the window, and I was just like, bro, I was with my hand. I was explaining what I just told y'all. This is a roundabout. You're supposed to wait. Like, what are you talking about? As I turned in my exit to get out of the roundabout and to get to the light where I was supposed to go, because I ended up going right. This person probably didn't even have to go the same way I had to go, but they wanted to let me know how they felt about me. So they pulled up on the side. It was a skinny, probably, she was probably like in her 40s. She looked horrible, but she was, I just know how these people age. She probably like was in her 40s, maybe early 50s, a white lady. And she pulled up on the side of me. She was just like, I'm gonna just say what she said. She said, fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid. And this was all a test for my God. Like, this was a test of my character, of my strength, of my emotional intelligence. Like, it was all a test. And I knew it. I knew it at the time that it was a test. I failed immediately though. Immediately I failed. Because when she called me stupid, I'm like, yo, who is this bitch talking to? Who is this bitch talking to? I didn't do anything but what I was supposed to do. And she's mad because whatever is going on in her life, she's mad and she's bringing it out on me, goofy bitch. Like, I didn't say I was right. I didn't say that was the godly way to do it. All I'm saying is immediately when I got called stupid, my mind kind of went somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, because I just got called stupid and you blowing that horn in the back of me for no reason. You don't know who or what I got in this car and you calling me stupid? Nah, I wasn't in Mason. I was in Sycamore. But that's pretty close to Mason. She called me stupid. And I'm like, yo, this bitch don't know me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this go on about your business. Shorty is what you should do. Go on about your business. You don't know, like, I don't know what you got going on in your car. You don't know what I got going on in my car. You tripping, dog. So she called me stupid. She called me stupid. And I responded. I tried to keep my voice down, but I did have my window all the way rolled down. So she probably heard me. But, after I got called stupid, yeah, now you a goofy, you stupid too, you're retarded too. I said a lot of nasty, ugly things. I did not call her, any racially provocative terms though. But then, as a coward does, what she decided to do as she was getting off on the exit, what she decided to do was let that hard R out of her mouth as she's getting onto an exit going the opposite way. She decided to throw that last final blow. That last final blow, she decided to throw it as she's going the opposite way, and there will be no method of retaliation or anything like that. Not to say I would do anything to her, but in a nutshell, that's what happened. That's story time. That's the story. I got called the hard R for the first time in this country, and I kind of think it's your president's fault. I kind of feel like that it is the current regime that is what's the word? That is emboldening these type of spirits to come out of people, because that's a spirit. That wasn't a normal situation for me. Like I said, I've lived in this country my whole life. I've lived in these type of areas, in and out of these areas, lower middle class, upper middle class, outright poor areas. I've lived in all of these neighborhoods, and I never came into a situation where I got called to my, in my proximity, a nigger. That's never happened to me before. So again, initially, when I first got called that word, all these feelings of anger came out of me. Like I got angry. Like I'm talking about rage, like real rage. Like it scared me. It did. I'm not gonna lie to you. It scared me because I don't like feeling like this, because I almost felt uncontrollable. Because immediately I wanted to do something to her. I wanted to make her feel how I felt. But I didn't do anything to that lady. I let her go about her business. She got that word off of, but she's got something coming for her. You cannot go about this life just thinking that you can say whatever you want to say to people and then things are going to go well for you. I didn't curse her in my prayer, but I did say a prayer for her. I prayed that God do to her what she deserves. That he reminds her of who her position is and who his children are. That's all I prayed. Because you got to pray for your enemies. I learned that. I'm learning that now, particularly. You got to pray for your enemies, and that lady was not okay, because for somebody to be that angry and to try to make you feel lesser than them, they can't be okay, So I prayed for my enemies. I'll answer that question in just a second. So I prayed for my enemies, and I prayed for her because just for a split second, she got me outside of my body, outside of my character. I wanted to, like I said, immediately when I got called a nigger, I wanted to hurt her. I wanted to make her feel uncomfortable, because that made me uncomfortable. Being of the history, you guys know the history, man. We like to act like these things are still, everything, race relations and stuff is good. It's not good. It's not good. Not everybody is like her, but there's a lot of people like her. Like when their back is against the wall and they feel like they need to hurt you, they're gonna go below the belt. And words shouldn't have that much meaning, but that word has a lot of connotation because it gives you a sort of a superior complex over me. And I don't like that you think you have any power, particularly when it comes to me. So that frustrated me. That irritated me. And the reason I included it into this story because I wanted to talk about mental and emotional resilience and intelligence. It is unintelligent and unresilient of me to respond to anybody who is not in control of their own emotions. It is irresponsible of me to respond emotionally when I'm emotionally charged. That doesn't make me a man. That doesn't make me cool. That doesn't make me tough. That makes me actually kind of foolish. A fool responds out of anger. That woman, and she wasn't a woman, she was a little girl, a big little girl. That little girl responded out of frustration and anger. And now she's a fool. She's a fool marked for life because she spoke against one of God's children. And I'm not saying I'm the most special. What I'm saying is that you don't just get away with doing whatever you want to whoever you want. There's consequences for everything, unseen and seen. So that's part of the story because it took, I grew emotionally that day, yesterday. I'm a new person from yesterday because I had to be. It had to test my emotional muscle. So that's the story. That's what happened. I got called the hard R. Immediately when I got called it, I wanted to do something to her. I'm glad I didn't have any type of, I'm just glad it didn't go how it could have went. It could have went very bad for me and her, especially if how I would have reacted fully in my emotion when I initially felt it. So that just goes to show you, though, the type of spirits that are lying amongst us in these current times. These spirits are getting these parasites in people. They can't control them. She couldn't control herself enough to watch her words. She's that's not the first time she done said that. But she's probably never been punched in her mouth before either. You know what I mean? So that's that. And then what did I want her to do? Did I want her to stop? I'm glad she didn't stop. I'm glad I didn't have any access to her. Because she could have shot me too. You know what I mean? It could have went a bunch of different ways, and I'm grateful that it went the way that it went, even if it was at my expense, because it was something small compared to something catastrophic. That could have happened to somebody who said this. To somebody like me. So that's the story. That's the story. That happened yesterday. Yep, that definitely happened yesterday. That definitely happened last night. Yep, it happened last night. It happened last night, bro. Why you stopped working with Unc 607? I didn't stop working with Unc 607. What happened with 607 Unc was, which I want. Y'all want the little story, I want the long story. Because we're supposed to be talking about ancient Tartaria today. Supposed to be talking about ancient Tartaria, ancient Mu, and these lost civilizations. Then plus my story time. So I suppose this is all the same thing. The reason I stopped working with 607 Unc is because, LOL, give them the spill. For sure. The reason I'll give you the long story. The reason I stopped working with 607 Unc, bro, is because my time had come up. I had did everything that I was supposed to do at the content house. I actually stayed longer than I was supposed to stay originally. I was only supposed to stay originally for 30 days. I ended up staying 60. I stayed way longer than I was supposed to, spent way more money than I anticipated. But it was all in the name of learning how to do content, of developing the camera persona in order to get in front of you guys and do the content, regardless of how I feel, what's going on around me, what I've experienced even yesterday and to now. I had to learn how to do this. Like, again, I've been doing this I was doing this, like this YouTube stuff, probably about 30 days before about 2 months before I even went to 607 Unc's house, and the content house in Las Vegas. But after this really gave me like the information to do this. You know what I mean? This really gave me like the information to do this content. But the main reason I'm done doing this 607 Unc because I've outgrew that. When I say, so my intro is this, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, double tap the screen, because we are the biggest, by the way. We're bigger than everybody. When I say that, I'm not just talking about 607 Unc, I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about any and everybody that you can think of. I just got started doing this, like at this level, probably about, I'm going on about 3 months now. Maybe 3 to 4 months now, and this is the smallest that we'll ever be, and we just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, Unc was a stepping stone. That's really all that was. Not saying anything good or bad about dude. He was just a stepping stone. Y'all know what I had. Y'all saw y'all saw them videos. Y'all saw what I went through. You know what I mean? Some of it was really good and funny. Some of it was at my expense, and that's on me, because I wanted it. That's what I could have did anything with my money, but I chose to use it to invest in myself and learn from somebody that I looked at as being the best to do it in his level. So I did that. I got around exactly somebody that I looked up to, and I met people that I knew that I would meet. I just didn't know how I would meet them, and now I'm in front of you. So it's all working out for me, even if I had to get laughed at a little bit, but the joke's on them because I'm successful. So that's why I'm no longer working with 607 on, because he ain't got nothing else for me, at this moment. I'm the most consistent. I make I don't gotta pop my. Do I gotta pop my? I'm the most consistent. I make this music. I have, and I focus on real information. So if you're looking for that, you should consider joining the tribe and checking in with us all the time, because we are the biggest and we are the best, by the way. So that's the answer to that question. So Now that we got all that out the way, now that I'm a little lyrically exercised and I feel a little bit better about being here in front of y'all, let's just go ahead and talk about ancient Tartaria furthermore. You still got that image of that government building in your head? You still see it? You still see it? Oh, I appreciate that, bro. Cause I'm a star, bro. You know, and I don't say that to really like, you know, but sometimes you gotta flex your collar a little bit, and then, you know, I'm just telling the truth. I'm a star. I am. You know what I mean? I'm a star. So, but I hope you got the image of the Tartarian buildings in you guys' mind. Again, picture any type of government building that you've ever been to, any type of public library, the old ones, any type of, just think about government building. Think about when you had to go to court for that speeding ticket, or for unpaid fines or anything like that. Think about how the building looked. It looks like it was straight. It was sent straight out of a Roman movie, doesn't it? It looks like it's not even from this country, right? Right. It looks very Greek-esque, you know, primarily speaking. It looks very not American. Or America looks like that. I don't know. Which came first, the building or America? Well, let's talk about it. If we're going on the ancient Tartarian theories, Tartaria was here long before America. Long before America, these buildings, these structures were built up. If you go to any maps that, you can Google it right now while you're on the phone. If you go to any maps from the 1500s, 1600s, you might be like, that's too far along ago. Okay, cool. But 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, even up until the 1800s, you will see parts on the map that say Tartaria. That might be Tartaria Asia, Tartaria Minor, Australia and down under around them places, or Tartaria Americas. But you're gonna see Tartaria. Why is that? Was it just like, we called North America, South America, or, we used to call it Tartaria America, Tartaria South America. Is that what happened? No. These kingdoms, these places used to actually exist. They did. But if they existed, where did they go? And why aren't they here now? That's a good question. Where did they go? And why aren't they here now? Where did they go? They went right up under our noses. Again, I just told you that they're your government buildings. They're your public square buildings. They're your libraries. They're your Supreme Court buildings. They're still here. Many of these buildings, many of ancient Tartaria, of the ancient old city that was before America, is right up under your feet. For example, if you live in like Chicago, or even my city of Cincinnati, we have one of the most ancient, old railway systems in America in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have a railway system, underground railway system that used to go all throughout America and was just like the New York subway system, was just like the Chicago subway system, but we had it our own, and it was all underground. And you could, and we got a Cincinnati Museum of History downtown that used to be instead of the Museum of History, it used to be the headquarters for the subway. So what am I saying is that the structures, even if you look at that Cincinnati Museum, the way that it's built is very, 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 very big, very large. And again, they say all of these structures were built in the 1800s. I call cap on that for this reason. Again, if I'm just going off of the Cincinnati Art Museum, if you go inside of it, not only are the ceilings about at least 100 feet in the air, dude, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 100 feet in the air, but then you learn about this underground subway system that was so intricate and was almost like its own city underground, that was, again, supposedly built in the 1800s. This is the same thing going on in Chicago. This is the same thing going on in New York, same thing going on in Seattle, same thing going on in Houston, underneath. This is all underneath. These are all underneath. How did you build this in the 1800s? Again, when we were just now figuring out how to put plumbing in our houses, when we were just now figuring out how to charge our automobiles from horse pool to using charcoal and eventually gasoline. How did we go? How did we just skip all these steps? We didn't. We used what was already here. We used what was already here, people. All this stuff was already here. Before I get more into that, let's see what you just said. I ain't too hip on this topic. I'm a little bit familiar though, for sure. So I wasn't too hip on it either. I'm still not a savant. That's why I got to do multiple parts on it. But what I'm telling you is true. The stuff that we're using for us right now has already been here. All of it. All of it has already been. I'm talking about the old stuff. You know, the old coliseums and the old buildings and stuff. Those have already been here. That's not something that we made. So you might be like, again, if I know anything about this topic, you might have heard about something that's called the World Fair. Does that sound familiar to you? The World Fair? I'm talking about, we in history class today, people. The World Fair. If you heard about anything that's called the World Fair was literally that. It was a bunch of nations. I think it was about maybe, I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's just estimate. It was about 30 nations, you know, and they all came together in New York for some reason, but they all, in Canada as well for some reason, but they all came together in the Americas and they had an expose of buildings. And then some of these buildings that they had this World Fair in, they were able to fit. Bro, in some of the buildings that they had this expose in, they were able to fit. The Sphinx could fit in some of these buildings. The whole city of DC could fit in some of these buildings. The Eiffel Tower could fit in some of these buildings. All in the same building in this World Fair. So this is what they did. This we're just talking about what was here, and then we're going to talk about who was it and why it left. So first, what was here? So these ancient civilizations, these ancient buildings were here, predating these American structures and these American buildings, predating America. It was already here. What we did though, since we were moving into a more Rothschild and Trump and the oligarchs of America. You know, the kings of America, the billionaire tyrants of America. We were moving more towards a system that they wanted and that they had set up. So before that, though, again, we had something that's called ancient Tartaria. And as we're moving more into this Rothschild education and working system, we couldn't explain these buildings to people normally. I mean, the old folks knew about them, but in order to move forward, we had to explain these buildings. So we did something that's called like the World Fair. It was essentially like the Olympics. You know how they build these they call them ghost towns. They build these big old mega structures. You can still go to Atlanta right now and you can see some of the structures that they built for the Olympics that happened in like the 80s, like 87 or something like that. So I'm saying it's the same. It was the same idea. We built these big old structures in order to entertain, and we called it the World Fair. And again, I just told you how big some of these buildings were. Some of these buildings were so big that it could not only fit up to 30,000 plus. That's a low number. Let's say 100,000 plus people, but also could fit whole cities in some of these structures. You might be like, whoa, that's just called ingenuity. Again, this was all in the 1800s that this was being done, people. In the 1800s, we were still coming out of as America, we were still coming out of like the Dark Ages, bro, out of the Stone Ages, bro. We were just learning how to put fuel in our cars to make it go, so we didn't have to do horse buggy no more. We were just learning how to put the filament in the light bulb, so the light switch comes on. We were just learning how to do all that. So you telling me on top of learning how to do all that just now, that we got these mega, giant, colossal structures that we built that had ingenuity that allowed sound to travel at I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm saying these buildings were so big, sound could travel into. You've been to some of these buildings. You've heard the echoes in these buildings. Think Catholic cathedrals too. That'll help you think about what I'm talking about. Think Catholic cathedrals. You telling me we built all that in the 1800s? Nah, we ain't built all that in the 1800s. We was just learning how to wipe our butts in the 1800s. We were just going from the outhouse to a toilet in the 1800s. There's no way that we knew how to do anything in the 1800s. There is absolutely no way. There's absolutely no way that we knew how to do anything in the 1800s. So I just told y'all what these structures were. They use these colossal Greek Roman style buildings that we see all over the world, that we find in every culture in every country, but we don't have any explanation as to why they were there. It's because it was an ancient civilization that predated America, that goes back as far as almost as far as ancient Babylon. And it was far more technologically advanced than us. So, all right, now that we understand that it was an ancient civilization that was here before us, what did these Tartarians look like? Who built these big giant buildings? Free America. I just seen that Free Palestine stuff. Free America, bro. Free my people. Free your people too, but free my people for sure. You know, free my people. Anyways, I always see these type of comments and stuff like that, and I'm just like, why would I put my interests other places? Anyway, I'm getting distracted. These giant buildings were built predating America, and the reason that they gave us was it was built to show off, or it was built to house troops. It was built to house grain. Like they give us all these bull crap reasons, but they never really tell us what happened before the Civil War. They never really tell us what happened, predating the Revolutionary War. They never really tell us what this place used to look like. If we understand them correct, and we're only listening to the story of the victor, what this place used to look like is just a bunch of farmland, Native Americans running around, maybe there were some slaves, who were bought all the way over from Africa and over here, to work the land. We just talked, basically it was a bunch of woods and there was nothing here, or that there were no people here. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Ancient Tartaria, I just saw that too, the Moors. The Moors had been here. West Africa had been here predating Columbus. That's why he talked about the Americas being so black and beautiful, and the kings and the people being so prosperous, and they having gold, the Seminole Indians having gold and stuff all over them and stuff like that. This kind of has something to do with it, but more so talking about Tartaria and what they look like. It's been theorized that these people were giants. Y'all believe in giants? Before you say no, let me just go ahead and tell you that prior to about 2003, 2004, prior to the 2000s, I say mid 2000s, you could go to certain museums in this country and you could go see giant human bones that have been being consistently found since like the 1800s. Giant human bones. They call them the giants of Nebraska, the giants of Ohio, the giants of, etc. You could go to these museums and you can go see these giant bones. I personally have never been to one of these places, but I have heard of these places. And again, prior to the mid 2000s, you could easily go to one of these places like a Sasquatch museum, but more like real. You could go to one of these places and you can go see giant bones. So what they're doing is they're kind of like Mandela affecting, it's a big trick. Meaning that, who y'all gonna believe? Y'all gonna believe a bunch of people, normal people who say they saw some stuff or who say they know some stuff? Are you guys gonna believe us, the institution? And we say that there's no such thing as giants. If there's a such thing as giants, go show us the giant bones. But what they don't tell you is that they've already removed the giant bones, and the Smithsonian has a monopoly on anything ancient, anything that gets discovered on American soil or throughout the world. The Smithsonian has like some form of divine right to all this property. And what the Smithsonian does is that they take it, they tag it, and they sell it to private interest groups. That's what they do. They take it, they tag it, and they sell it to private interest groups. And now it just becomes conspiracy. But these things weren't conspiracy. Talk to your great grandparents if you guys still have the privilege of having those guys around, and ask them about giants. Ask them about giant bones. Again, up until the mid 2000s, you could still go to museums and you could look at giant bones. Why would they need to lie about this? Is because if they admit one thing, and they kind of already screwed themselves over, because again, up until the mid 2000s, you can go look at this stuff. But if they admit one thing, then what else what other type of information are we not privy to? I want you to think about that. So it's been theorized that giants are the creators of old Tartaria. Giants. You might be like, that sounds stupid. Okay, think about it like this. Again, I just told you, I hope you still got these Roman, when you think of your courthouses, you think of the Supreme Court, you think of all of these giant, mega, colossal structures that are supposedly for humans, are supposedly made for us. Just think about it. Think about how big those steps are. Think about it. Think about how the old world used to look and how big, these old, how big old stuff used to look. How big some of these, if you look at these old pictures of beds and ancient and 1800 style castles and stuff like that. Just think about how big they were. Even for the rich, they were kind of preposterous. They were kind of goofy built, even for the rich, even for people who just have insurmountable amount of money to spend. These houses and these structures were still just way too big. So if you put two to two together, again, I just told you that prior to the mid 2000s, you can go to some of these museums in America specifically. I don't know about anywhere else, but in America, and you could go see human bones that were giants. It's not hard to put two and two together. I don't know if they were all Nephilim, bro. I do believe that there are just naturally races of humans that were, so I get where you're going with the Nephilim theory, and I used to think just like that as well. I'm not saying that they're not infused with Nephilim DNA per se, but I'm gonna put it to you like this. This version of the Homo sapien is just that. It's a version. That's why we got many other different versions of what's called hominids, of what's called the human species. We have many different versions of those. Now we're taught in traditional science and traditional school that this version of Homo sapiens took hundreds of thousands of years or however many years to evolve into this, and all those other species died thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. What if all of those numbers are capped? What if thousands and thousands of years ago isn't really the number? What if this version of humanity right now, where me and you, where the average height is about 5'8", 5'10", 6 foot, whatever the case may be, and then you get really tall if you 6 foot and up, what if this version of humans just happened in the last 1,200, 1,300, 1,500 years ago? If that. What if actually how we think we're moving towards the future, we're actually going in reverse? What if the future already happened? And this is kind of like the aftermath. I have evidence to support this, that we're actually moving in reverse instead of moving towards what we consider as the future. I didn't put his name in the video for this. How did we get to giants? I think I just answered that. Yep. Now, I want to tie this in. I didn't put his name in the video, but he's along this time period. There's somebody by the name of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, cool name, by the way. Nikola Tesla was, he wanted to give the whole world Wi-Fi, bro. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to give the whole world Wi-Fi, free energy, because it was possible. It is possible. And he actively worked on it. You don't get structures like the Eiffel Tower, like the many satellite stations that were built all throughout the world. And during this time period of Tartaria that I'm talking about in the World Fair, you still had megalo structures like this. This is where you get your Eiffel Tower from, the World Fair. This is where you get that structure from. It did not exist before the World Fair. So did they create it or did they unearth it? You don't get an Eiffel Tower or you don't get a Nikola Tesla who created the Eiffel Tower and structures like it in order to be a uh, giant energy pole, bro. I don't know the other word. What's the things that, I mean, now they say the Wi-Fi is underground and stuff, and they it's kind of like mystical the way Wi-Fi works. But he made giant satellites even back then, bro. And then he dies in his hotel room, and Trump's great 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 uncle is just the guy who's the head of the CIA, and for some reason they're the first ones to respond to the scene, and they grab all of his stuff. And now we don't have no free Wi-Fi no more. We don't have no free energy no more. But Nikola Tesla already figured that out. He figured that out in the early 1800s. We're living in reverse, people. Right now, the U.S. government will tell you, ley lines, that's a good one. Yeah, ley lines. And that's not what I was talking about with the tower poles. That's not what I was talking about. But ley lines is what goes underground for sure. Right now, we're living in reverse, people. This is not the future that we're moving towards. Right now, the American government will tell you that anything that we have available to us, whether that be cell phones, gaming systems, technology, weapons, that they're already 50 plus years above that, whatever's released. That's been declassified. They'll willfully tell us that they're at least 50 years ahead of whatever it is that we have access to. The question is, and this is part one, guys. This is going to be a multi-part series. The question is, why, who, why and who? That's the two questions I got so far. Why did they do it, and who does it benefit for us to just be socially engineered and just lied to? What's the point of not having free energy? I'm pretty sure you guys can answer that already. What's the point in destroying some of these ancient Tartarian buildings? Is because the acoustic. It's also theorized that the acoustics, along with the giants of the time, is what built some of these structures. Because in these structures, you can go if you think about any type of the Taj Mahal. Just think about any type of ancient structure that you may have visited or you may have frequented, and then when you go in there and you just you think humans did that. Sound and vibrations have been recently discovered to be one of the main things that can move things. You can move objects with sound. What am I saying? I'm saying that these structures were so big and they were so monumental is because they were basically charging stations for the old world. I'm going to get this more well put together, and I'm going to come back to y'all on part two. But this is just a brief outline of ancient Tartaria, and the old world is actually the new world, and this new world is actually kind of ghetto. We kind of living we're kind of living in the remains of what used to be. Reverse engineering. I'm trying to figure out this too. The sound of praise is how the wall of Jericho came down. Exactly. Now you're thinking on the right line. Now you're thinking in the right thought process. Sound has always been used as an instrument, whether an instrument of war or just an instrument, period. It's not just to make music. Music is also a therapy. Music is also an instrument that can be used for therapy, that can be used for healing, that can be used for harming. And this all goes along with the bells being this is all the same thing, but I'm bouncing around. I'm trying to make sure that you guys stay on topic with me. This all goes and deals with the ancient bells being removed from cities. I'll give you guys a perfect example, because not everywhere in America has all this stuff been removed immediately. I used to live in Anchorage, Alaska. As a little boy living in Anchorage, Alaska, I used to go to a school called Lake Otis Elementary. So Lake Otis Elementary was probably about 10 to 15 minutes away from my house. Even in the 80s and stuff, like in the movies and stuff, like, they all had the town bells and stuff like that. But anyways, in my particular neighborhood, whenever it was time for midday or whatever the case may be, we had a bell that would ring. And when you heard the bell, it wasn't something like, it was a kind of like a calming presence. But there was kind of like a mandate, I want to say, since the early 1900s. There's been a mandate to remove all bells from cities. Why is that? And where are we really? Why do you need me to believe that this version of life, the version where I have to pay for water, heat, food, necessities to live, and if I don't pay for them, then basically I've killed myself. Why is it that I'm supposed to believe that this is the best version of life? No, it's because somebody has access to the truth and to real information, but they hijacked it and they put it in their pocket so they could profit off of it. I got about 4 more minutes, guys. Go ahead and ask any questions relating to the topic or anything like that. But today, I kind of made it a little quick because I'm getting back into it, y'all. I'm just like y'all, I'm human. I don't always feel it. And, you got to be consistent, though. So that's what's going on right now. The bells was healing us. The city bells was giving out frequencies. Everything is a frequency. Kanye West talked about it best. The engineering of trap music and the 808 and low vibration of the 808 is relatively new. I would say since 3-6 Mafia, 666 Mafia, and they were very demonic. They'll tell you themselves that they were demonic. Well, the ones that are admitted, will tell you that they're demonic. There's a reason. So anytime, this is what I want you to do. Anytime you feel not special, or anytime you feel unseen, anytime you feel like, you just feel like don't none of this stuff matter. Don't nothing you do matter. Just know that just know this. Your government has tried so hard and went so hard to go out of their way to control the way that you think, control the way that you eat, control the way that you sleep, control the way that you listen to music. They went so far out of the way because they know how special you are. And if we awaken to a realization of, wait a minute, in order for you to control or want to control everything that I do, that must mean that I'm stronger than you. That must mean I'll beat you up for real. Because that's what a bully got to do. A bully has to maintain the illusion of control in order for them to have control. These people are bullies. Without the illusion of control, everything crumbles. That's what's going on in a nutshell. The city bells were giving out frequencies. That Diddy documentary was something crazy. Yeah, I'd already talked about that. It ain't nothing that we ain't already heard before. If you take shrooms or DMT, you will wake up. Very briefly, let's see what I got. 2 minutes. Very briefly, just on shrooms, on DMT. I don't subscribe to having to take a substance in order to connect with reality or connect with God. I don't subscribe to that, even though I've taken substances to just do just that. So I'm not, coming out of a place of inexperience. I'm saying that DMT is literally the essence of what's in your pineal gland and is what you use when you sleep. So literally I have a insurmountable amount of DMT in my own bloodstream and in my own body. I don't need to go outside of myself to take that. And then when I take DMT, I'm just exposed to the elements that are immediately in front of me that my human eye isn't naturally tuned into. And these is where these demons live at. That's why everybody talks about seeing the same thing when they do DMT, or when they do, stuff like that. They talk about seeing the same stuff. These court jesters, or these machine elves, these little tormented, fragmented beings. I just had Paul on here from Understanding Conspiracy. That's what his whole channel is about. Those tortured souls that cannot ascend high or low, and that when we do DMT, all we're doing is seeing the fractal grid that they live in. Yeah, I don't want to be with those people, man. Those things. I don't want to be. I like this fleshly body that I live in. And if I come to a place of stillness in my quiet place or in my prayer closet, I'm able to not only travel to different dimensions in my mind, but I'm also able to ascend this reality and be and exist in like the 5 and the 6 reality, just by being in awareness and in tuneness with myself. I'm not telling you something I don't know. So that's how I feel about that. Even though I've done shrooms for sure, and I used to be the main, like I used to be like, if shrooms had like a cheerleader, I was like I'm a shroom. You know what I'm saying? I was a shroom for sure. For sure. Hola, tribe. Welcome in. Goddess, is a pleasure to have all of y'all here. We just talked about a couple different topics today. Again, this is just part 1. I'm going to have to make a part 2, 3, probably 4 to this, because this topic, I didn't cover everything I wanted to. I'm getting back in the flow with talking. Keep me in your prayers, just like I do y'all. You know what I mean? Okay, my question for you, brother. Why would God create shrooms? Yeah, that's a good question. That's the same kind of question you could ask, though, if we're going along that thought process. We could ask the same question as to why did God create poppy? The poppy plant that is for heroin and stuff like that. You could ask the same thing. Why did God create venomous plants? Why did God create fish that you can't eat? Why did God create, etc.? Creation is because creation can. It is because it can be. And it can be because it is. You have what's called the spirit of discernment in you. So if we're going with the God conversation, you have what's called the spirit of discernment in you, meaning that my body is my temple. And just because I can doesn't mean I should. There's a bunch of things that I can do. I can go outside and kill somebody. I can go outside and rob somebody. What I'm getting at is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Or just because you can doesn't mean that it was meant to be used recreationally like it's being used now. That's my answer to that. Did King Solomon lose to the demons? Yes, exactly. That's exactly what happened to King Solomon. He lost to the demons because he was so wise that he became foolish. He was so wise and he gained so much wisdom and gained so much insight and power from that. And what happens to a lot of these people, a lot of multimillionaires, billionaires, a lot of people of affluence, that they become so, they mastered this game of life so much that you and I play on a daily basis, that now they start playing with forces outside of their own control, because they assume that they still have the same control that they did over this earthly realm. So yeah, Solomon lost to the demons. Literally, he conjured about 77 of them to build the tower, but he thought that he could have order over chaos. And demons are literally the embodiment of chaos. Demons are literally the embodiment of chaos. You cannot control chaos. You're not God. All right. He didn't don't eat cow doo-doo. Yeah, I'm cool on eating stuff that comes from cow dung too. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like a reason that comes up out of there. I don't know. What if you meet a cool one? Cool one what? What's the Gmail, bro? Got instrumentals/beats for you. You can hit me up at BrockGiovanni98 at Gmail. BrockGiovanni98 at Gmail. BrockGiovanni98 at Gmail. Or you can hit me on Instagram at SolarMan with 3 N's. at SOLARMAN with 3 N's for business inquiries or talk about beats and stuff like that. I still got to build my studio and stuff. Like I'm still like 2 months from finishing all construction in my place. So it's like, I'm still there with y'all though. Shrooms helped me escape the matrix and appreciate church and God and appreciate church and God more. And I am Catholic. I thought we were God though. To answer both of those questions at the same time, I just said in the beginning of this live that we are all reflections of the Most High. So yes, ye are gods for sure. You are a reflection of the Most High. You are, when the Most High looks in the mirror, he sees you. When you look in the mirror, you see the Most High. But the God's ways, in what we talk about God, and we say that word God, it's really kind of like it's disrespectful to what we calling God. It's very low level. There's levels to this, bro. It's levels to God, bro. It's levels to it. So what we're talking about is God is like literally anything and everything that ever been or ever will be is created by this source, and you're a reflection of that. You are a reflection of anything that ever will be and everything that ever was. You are a reflection of that. Are you the single source of creation though? Nah. We about 66. I know I got to go to 70. I thought we were, I am Catholic. Shrooms helped me escape the matrix. I got to go back to the DMT. I got to go back to the DMT is already in my pineal gland part. If DMT is already in my pineal gland, what you got to understand is that when you're escaping the matrix, you're just tapping back into yourself of something that's already there. It's kind of like, this is how I look at it, bro. And this is a perfect way to describe it. I kind of look at shrooms, DMT, stuff like that as like steroids. You still working out, you still doing push-ups, but you take these steroids to kind of like help speed you along the process a little bit. That's what DMT and that's what shrooms represent to me. They represent a steroid of spirit. When really, all you got to do is just keep doing your push-ups, your spiritual place, your quiet place. Keep doing your awareness exercises, and you will be able to experience DMT without taking DMT. You'll be able to experience shrooms without taking shrooms. I'm telling you. I'm telling you from experience, bro. You will, and you can. Brother, I got good one for you. So Indian tribes or Slavic tribes never had a chance to have the Bible and did shrooms or ayahuasca and DMT, and they did believe in one Holy Ghost, which we call God. I never heard of that. But anyways, it also says in the word that the Spirit of God has always rested in men. So, that's a question that we get a lot, and especially children ask it, and just people who are not of the belief system of Christ or Yahashua. They ask this question all the time, like, what about people who never met Christ, who never got to have a relationship with, what about them? The Spirit of God has always rested in men, meaning that you've always had a distinction between right and wrong and godliness in you. Meaning that even if I never knew of a Jesus Christ, even if I never knew of Christianity, I would have still embedded in my DNA. It's in my DNA. I have the Spirit of God in me because, again, I just told you I am a reflection of God. So what Christ did when he came, as we know in the day, Christ embodied all of the, he paid the price. He was a living sacrifice for even those who didn't get to meet him yet and even those who will never get to meet him. He was a living sacrifice that was paid through blood. The back door to the spiritual room for sure. That's a good way to put it. The back door I like that. The back door to the spiritual room. Yeah, shrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, all that stuff is like jumping ahead. It's like a back door. It's like a steroid. I can access all of that in myself because these are all imitations of the Spirit. All of this stuff is imitations of the Spirit. All of it. And I am Spirit. I have access to all of this. All of this is imitations of the Spirit. I have access to all of this because I am Spirit. I am his prized possession from a royal priesthood. This is part 1 too, people. Breathing techniques give go much that people ain't know and don't even want to imagine that it is that easy. Facts. You just gotta do the work. You are smart, brother. Be blessed. May God be in your heart always. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Even to go, this is probably like one of my. I'll leave that up for y'all to decide. But I didn't feel, I can do better with my episodes for sure. But this is gonna be part 1. And then I'm gonna come back. I'm probably come back for part 2 once I get back home. But hopefully I don't get back home too late. I don't know. We'll see. And then we got a troll in here. Talking about why are you gay?